Alright, in this video I want to get into prophecy a bit more, into Revelation. I already put up a few videos about it, but I wanted to get a little bit more into it to show how you can see these things and you can learn to have faith in God, you can have faith in His Word, because He has shown us the end from the beginning. And this adds to what I've been talking about in a couple other videos, talking about people like Eric Dubay, who they can see the truth in a lot of ways, but they end up denying Jesus. They deny the Bible. And these are the kind of things that could actually change that. You look at prophecy. And this is something different from being able to use science, use critical thinking, and be able to discern the truth. This is telling us the future. This is definitely something supernatural. This is something divine and godly. So, what I'd like to get into is how using the day for a year principle that we get from Ezekiel, where he was to lay on his side for 40 days, representing a day for a year, is the same as Jesus 40 days out into the wilderness was each day for a year that Israel was wandering in the wilderness. This day for a year works. That's what they use in Daniel for the prophecy there. A day for each year. I mean, you give a year for every day. But anyway, I'm going to show how that all plays out here. We've got the spread of Islam. When we go to Revelation chapter 9, we can read about Islam spreading, and it was given power for 5 months, and each month is a 30-day period, so you get 150 years. And look and behold, Islam conquered for 150 years. That's when it ended up stopping. And in the early, I'm not even sure. I think it right here, the 1830s actually says it. This guy William Miller, where you get a lot of the stuff about false prophecies. Well, this guy actually used the day for the year principle, figured it out, and he predicted the fall of the Ottoman Empire. Because later on in Revelation chapter 9, it actually says, hold on one second. I don't want to misquote it because it actually is a little interesting here. It says, gotta find the verse here. Actually trying to see. Okay, it says, and the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. So you got a year, so that's 12 months, right? And then you got a month, which 30 days, a day and an hour. So if a day is a year, then every 2 hours is a month, because you got 24 hours and there's 12 months. So 2 hours is a month. So an hour is a half a month. So 15 days, right? So you add that all up, you get 391 years. And that's how long the Ottoman Empire lasted. And this is why a lot of people started following that movement that ended up becoming the Seventh-day Adventists and the Jehovah's Witnesses, because these things started to happen, right? The next thing I want to get into is something that's not just in Revelation, but it's actually something Jesus talked about in Matthew chapter 24. I had it here, but flipping around, I lost my place. So give me a second. All right, Matthew 24. It says, For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even out of the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcasses is, there will the eagles be gathered. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So you can see there these prophecies being fulfilled, but then it says in those days the sun and the moon will be darkened, and the stars shall fall from heaven. Right? And in Revelation, it talks about then this great earthquake. Well, coming up to the end of the tribulation, 1755, and like I said, a day for a year, we had 1,260 years of the tribulation, which started in 538 AD, when the papal power got its authority and was fully established, and until it got its deadly wound to the head when Napoleon arrested the Pope in 1798. And coming up to the end, we have this great earthquake here. In 1755, Lisbon earthquake, and it was felt almost around the world. It had tsunamis that hit the Caribbeans. It disturbed the lakes and rivers in Scandinavia. Places in Africa felt it. It devastated, obviously, the city of Lisbon. This is something the world talked about, and this is something you can look and do more. Just look up Lisbon earthquake 1755. Then, in 1780, the dark day in New England. It was the middle of the day, and it just went dark, and everybody started to freak out. There's all kinds of stories about this, about how the animals thought it was night and they started coming back into the barn, and all this creepy stuff where they had to continue their day with candles, and they didn't really know when the day was over. And that night, the moon was as blood. All right? Then, 1833, the Leonids meteor shower, which made the night look like day from all of the falling stars. So those things happened. So of course they thought Jesus was coming soon. Could you blame them? It all makes sense. They predicted the fall of the Ottoman Empire using the day for a year principle. The tribulation has come to an end, so the rapture could be at any moment because the rapture comes at the end of the tribulation. And they had the sun darkened, the moon turned as blood. That's not in Matthew, but it's in Revelation. And the stars fall. You saw these things. You would think Jesus is coming at any time. The problem they had is they actually tried to predict exactly when it was going to happen, and obviously they failed. They failed, and yeah, they ended up breaking up, become a Seventh-day Adventists and the Jehovah's Witnesses, and then they, got mixed up on all kinds of stuff. From then on, I don't care about. What I'm caring about is the stuff here that actually can be biblically backed up here. And this is what we got. And the thing that they were missing, that they actually talk about, but they didn't seem to calculate at that time, was in Revelation chapter 13. It talks about the beast that's reigning for that tribulation period, the papal power, and it's ruling for 40 and 2 months. And, after that tribulation period, there's another beast that rises up like a lamb, and that would be America. It was based on Christian law, common law, where everybody's free, everybody's brother and sister, no one rules over anybody, because we're all God's children. But eventually it speaks like a dragon, because eventually it gives in to Roman law, and now we are using Roman law, and we got birth certificates, social security numbers, IDs, driver's license. We have licenses to do everything. We have not freedom, but we have liberty, and we're paying homage to that first beast. These things haven't happened yet, and that's what they missed out, is that yes, these things will show the end of the tribulation, then Jesus is going to come, but it doesn't mean he's going to come that very next moment, because he says no one knows the day or the hour. So you got to slow down there, because we still have to see the mark of the beast, and it's the second beast, America, that actually establishes this, that actually at least starts this and gets it going. But yeah, I just wanted to get into this real quick. I know I didn't bring up a lot of scripture, but I was already getting into it when I did a couple videos on Daniel and Revelation, and then another one getting deeper into it. And now I just wanted to show how the day for the year principle actually works. It makes sense. It's the same thing that showed us in Daniel the period of time that led up to Jesus, and that halfway through his little ministry he was cut off, and he put an end to the sacrifices because he was the actual fulfillment of the sacrifices. So using this day for a year, you can see Bible prophecy being fulfilled. And it answers a lot of questions like, how come we don't see Islam in the Bible? We don't see America in the Bible. Well, you do. You're just not paying attention. But anyway, that is that. Thanks for watching and take care.